This is a snippet from the Hartsville Murders. Kevin rings the doorbell. "Who is it?" says Miss Hall. "It's Detective McAmey, ma'am," Kevin says. "Hold on, please." She unlocks the door. "Hello, Miss Hall, Detective McAmey with the 100th Precinct." "I know who you are. We spoke on the phone. I also seen you looking at the house across the street. May I ask what you were looking for, Detective?" Kevin leans his head as to know what Miss Hall is speaking of. "Miss Hall, did your son know someone by the name Paul Plotty?" "My son knows lots of people, and he hung around a lot of people, some of which I never met, Detective, so I can't help you there. Anyway, what's this Paul got to do with Del Monte?" Miss Hall says as she sits down. "Miss Hall, Paul is the man that hit Del Monte and killed him. Also, Paul gave me this street address as 5151, which is that house. And I'm wondering why he did that when someone told me he lived down the street at 5161, Kevin says as he scratches his head. "Let me ask you something, Detective. When you spoke to this Paul Plotty, did you ask him for some ID?" Miss Hall says as she adjusts her chair. "No, I don't, ma'am. He willingly gave a name, number, and address." "Detective, how long have you been a police officer?" Miss Hall says as she sips from her coffee. 15 years. You don't know to ask for ID when someone might have committed a murder?" "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but Mr. Plotty seemed to go along without a fight, and I didn't think to ask for an ID," Kevin says sarcastically. "Detective, do you want to know who lived across the street in that house you were looking at?" Miss Hall says as she takes another sip. "Well, if it will help, yes. That house belongs to Mary May Plotty. She was a very sweet old lady. We went to church together over on Lake Maya. Household of Faith is the name," Miss Hall says as she takes another sip. "Mary May Plotty. So Paul did live over there," Kevin says. "Hall, Detective, who told you that Paul lived at 5161? Kevin starts to think to himself. Some guy walking down the street. "What did this guy look like, Detective?" Miss Hall asks. "Well, about 6'3", dark skin, about 40 years of age," Kevin says as he thinks about the interaction with Mr. Plotty. "Detective, you just described Paul Plotty Sr. What? How the hell and why would he tell me he lives down the street? In addition, that was not the same Paul Plotty I spoke with," Kevin says as he sounds confused. "Detective, I don't even know how you talk to Paul Plotty Sr. He died 20 years ago in that house across the street, along with his wife, Mary May Plotty. Mary and Paul were murdered by their grandson, Michael Plotty. Now, I believe that guy you were talking to is Michael. As for the house down the street, 5161, that used to be Michael's mother's house. The people who live there now are the Lovitts and their dog. At this moment, Kevin takes a seat. Wait, so you are saying that the house across the street was the home of Michael Plotty? Yes. How old is Michael, Miss Hall? How old did he look, Detective? 55, 60 years old? No, Detective. Michael Plotty should be about 58 years old. See, you made a mistake that caused my son's killer to get away. Now, I'm not upset with you because my son was always into something, but you could have had a good lead. The detective now stares at her in confusion. When I asked you if you knew Paul Plotty that hung with Del Monte, you said no. You're right, Detective, but Paul is dead, so I was telling you the truth. See, it's also what made me ask about the ID. Kevin, now confused. What happened to Michael's parents, Miss Hall? They were killed by an unknown person. Many people think it was Michael. Okay. Why was Michael never charged for the murder of his grandparents? Detective, I don't know, but many people around here know it was him. Now, go out there and find this mother before he runs someone else's son down, Miss Hall says as she gets furious. Okay. Thanks for the information, Miss Hall, Kevin says in confusion. Do your job correctly this time, Detective, Miss Hall says dismissively. Thank you for your time, Miss Hall. And here's my card. Call me if you need anything or if you hear anything new. Miss Hall looks at Kevin dismissively. Goodbye, Detective. As she closes the door. Kevin, now outside on the porch, is in a state of confusion. What the hell just happened in there? Ghosts? Lies? And she even seemed to be a little on edge as well. Almost like she's hiding something. This has been a snippet from the Hartsville Murders.